All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome back. Axeltoss here, casting another Starcraft 2 replay. Screen, why are you going all the way up there? You don't need to go up there. Just stay right here. Yeah, that's much. Thank you. That's much better. Hopefully you're having a great day. What are we watching? You're probably wondering. Oh, don't spoil the match. What are we watching? So this is another game from that tournament that happened between the coaching exchange group of the Dota players, the League of Legends players, and the Starcraft 2 players. This is going to be the second game I'm going to be casting from that event. And it's going to be in between spawning in the bottom left-hand location, Lawaian, and in the top right, his opponent, FullMetal. And the approach I'm taking to this is going to be mostly educational. These guys are, I think they're silver and platinum, or silver and gold, or bronze. They're not masters, so they're not pros. So this is going to be more of an educational broadcast to hopefully help the guys who are playing and hopefully help anyone who is watching who is trying to learn some StarCraft 2, trying to get into StarCraft 2, or maybe they're lost in the ways of the StarCraft 2 world and they're trying to find the answers and they've come to youtube.com/AxeltossSC to figure out those answers. I'm not going to promise I have the answers, but I know a bit about this game, so I can hopefully help you out. That is a crazy fast gas. So for the newbies out there, general idea behind the fast gas is you can only make SCVs, a certain amount of SCVs. You can only have a certain amount of SCVs at the 2-minute mark, right? So basically making that early gas, you're making that decision in the early game to not be mining the monies, right? To not be mining the monies. Monies get you more SCVs, they get you more basic structures, they get you additional command centers. More SCVs on the monies means more investment into the later game. So you're basically making that decision by going for this gas to take 3 of your guys from that future game investment and instead put them into a more immediate investment as far as getting stuff that costs gas, like tech, like marauders, like upgrades, like banshees, like a factory. So in this case, we're going to see the Blue Terran player put down a factory. Now it's fine, but you have to realize when you're doing this, and I'm sure FullMetal does, but for those of you who don't know maybe, when you're doing this, when you're putting down this quick factory, some people will be like, oh, I do it because the pros do it. What should instead, I think, probably be going through your mind is, okay, I'm putting down this factory. That means that all this investment I'm putting into tech, if my opponent isn't making the same investment into tech, which he's not, we don't see any gas. Okay, just not putting out a gas. He's going to be a little bit better off as the game goes along, provided he doesn't lose drones, provided he keeps mining minerals optimally, keeps making drones. So it's going to be up to the Blue Terran player who's investing into this tech to make that worth it. He just invested into this factory. He's going to be able to make those powerful units. He wants to make it worth it by either A, forcing his opponent to make similar investments, or B, to actually do some damage to his opponent's economy so he can have more money relative to his opponent. Very basic idea there. Very basic idea. But very important in StarCraft 2. So at this current stage in the game, FullMetal is going to be behind economically in a sense. He is investing more into tech than his opponent. Less SCVs on minerals, theoretically, if his opponent has been making a lot of drones. But his opponent has started mining gas as well, so it's not going to be that different. It looks like we're actually at a lot of lings be made there. 8 lings, and I don't even know. Okay, so 8 lings at this point. You gotta figure out, okay, what does this accomplish for me? Because those 8 lings, that could be 4 more drones. So at this point in time, these lings were not worth it, right? Why? Because they're not doing anything. Now, if the Hellions had come forward and, tried to be aggressive, or if the... What is that? Okay, so my internet's having issues, or BattleNet. It keeps going offline and online, so excuse the beeps. It's going to drive me crazy, but it's going to be... Okay. Computer, can you stop? Can you stop doing that? Like, seriously, I don't know why you're doing that. Just... Is it going to be that way? Am I going to have to hit Control S? Okay, if you do it one more time, I'm going to hit Control S. I promise. It won't stop me. Don't think I won't. Unbelievable. So no sound. I'll make the sound effects. So anyway, back to the idea. Wow, he's freaking out. Okay, so he sees no natural. So he's freaking out. I guess that makes a little bit of sense. But anyway, back to my point. I kind of want to pause it. I'm going to pause it. I'm just going to do it. So at this point, there's 6 minutes. We're 6 minutes in. 6 minutes, 20 seconds in. Lings, there are how many? A lot. I can use tab. 14. 14 lings. And are they doing anything right now? No, they're not. So you only, as Zerg, you only want attacking units when you feel threatened. So right now these lings might be okay to have, but if we go back to, let's say, like 5 minutes, right, when all these lings are out here doing nothing, you guys remember, or you can go back in the YouTube video, you can actually hit back. So the whole, you're making those lings and they're not doing anything for you. If you're making units as Zerg and they're not doing it for anything for you, then you're doing things wrong. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not saying you're bad. It's just you're doing things wrong. Always you want drones unless you're making units that are immediately helping you benefit. That's how the Zerg place is raid. That's how, wait, what did I say? That's how the Zerg race is played. I think I said that's how the Zerg place is raid, which is mildly funny. Anyway, let's hit play. Now, okay, we got some lings out. The Hellions coming forward from the Terran player. And speed needs to be, so, like, there's something else to consider. Is it ever worth it to build slow lings? Because we're seeing all these lings. Like, imagine every 2 lings that die here is a drone. Imagine that right now. So FullMetal is like super happy because he's killing all these drones. Technically, right? Not really, but you get the idea. The lings are doing nothing. They don't have speed. So 2 decisions have to be made because we're talking about a 7-minute Hellion timing that he kind of knows about. So as a Zerg player, if you're spotting this, if you're like, okay, I know it's coming. I know that he's going to send 7 to 8 Hellions to my base, and it's not going to be fun. If you know that's going to happen, there's generally 2 decisions you can make. I mean, this third is okay, but slowlings are, they might be, the only worst answer to slowlings might be just making a bunch of drones and trying to attack the Hellions with drones. That might be the only worst decision that you can make here. So, options. What deals with 7 Hellions? That's when you start in your mind. If you're watching through a replay, this is what you can do too. It's like, okay, I'm having trouble with the 7 Hellion rush that comes in 7 minutes. How do I deal with that? Options. At a very basic level, I'll give you some, I'll throw some numbers down. 2 spines. Probably deal with this. 2 spine crawlers. Boom. You didn't have to make any lings, just 2 spines. That's it. Maybe an Evo chamber to help wall off. 4 queens. 4 queens. You already have 2 queens out. Looks like some more popping out. You know, it looks like you're on the same. And queens are always going to help you later game. They have energy. The energy builds up. Queens are awesome. So 4 queens. Boom. It's not an issue. Now, if you're asking the question, okay, but Axeltoss, I have this 3rd hatchery down. I want that to be saved. Okay, so now we're getting a new list of options. So 2 spines, maybe not going to be sufficient. 4 queens, if your creep is crazy, then maybe yes. Other option, spine, queen, here. And this is probably fine. So that's a lot of wishy-washy stuff, though. This is what the pros sometimes will do, or here's another idea that might work out for you. You can try all these things, see what you like the best. A Roach Warren. Place the Roach Warren down. Okay, so again, you can kind of, when you're thinking about builds in your mind, you can kind of be like, okay, I want how many? I want 7. I want 4. I want 4, maybe 5 roaches at 7 minutes. So you can say to yourself, okay, what's the build time of a roach? Or how much larva is that? So that's 4 or 5 larvae. You're pretty much always going to have that, not an issue. So the main issue is going to be, okay, when is the Roach Warren going to finish? That's going to be the main idea, because you want the Roach Warren to finish, and you want the Roach build time as well. You want to know that. So you subtract the Roach build time from 7 minutes when you want them out, and then you subtract the build time of Roach Warren. And then boom, you know exactly when you want to put your Roach Warren down, and you know exactly when your roaches will be out to deal with the 7 Hellion rush. So right now, long story short, sorry for rambling on and on. Zerg player well, he made a lot of slowlings, and it's gonna hurt him because his drone count isn't gonna be where he would like it to be. Now it might be okay after all, because it looks like FullMetal is being very tentative with his Hellions. And along that same notice, Terran players, when you get all these Hellions, when you're going for surprise attack off of 1 base, you better make it worth it. You better make it worth it, because you're investing a lot into it. So don't be shy. If you smell weakness, if you smell the weakness of the Zerg, if you see a bunch of slowlings, do not be shy. Go see how much damage you can do, because you just invested a lot into getting all these Hellions. And if they don't do any damage, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Cool. Starcraft's awesome. Okay, speedlings are out now, which is great. Now the Roach Warren is just about finishing, which is fine. Which is perfectly fine. And now we have Banshee on the way. So the Zerg still sees the lack of an expansion. So like an automatic thing should be, okay, let's put down Spore Crawlers, Because, like, if you think about the options or what your opponent is doing on one base, it's going to involve a starport. Like, what you could do is send an overload in there. Nothing here actually shoots up. Yeah, I'm not actually kidding. There's no marines or anything. So, literally, this overlord could be seeing that all this is going on. It's important to identify that stuff, too. But most Terrans, actually, FullMetal, you should have built a marine here just to make sure he doesn't do that. But anyway, you can kind of know if your opponent's staying on one base that's going to be involving a factory and a starport, which means either A, Banshees, B, drop play. That's it, kind of. Well, of course, with the factory supplementation, but you're going to know the starport progress, hence spore crawlers, right? Spore crawlers are always going to be worth it. What else did we say that kind of fits with all of this? Remember we were talking about earlier? We were talking earlier about how to deal with the Hellions, and we came up with a lot of options. Do any of you remember what we came up with that would also work against Banshees? What did we say? We said queens. We said queens. So, imagine if we had about 6 queens right now as Zerg. No investment into spines necessarily, no investment in the spores necessarily. Of course, you can have those to stay extra safe. Imagine if it's 6 queens right now. 2 injecting and 4 helping with the front door. That'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty cool. There's a lot of Hellions, a lot of Banshees. It could be dealt with. However, Zerg is doing it the hard way. He does not have an answer to these Banshees. No queens, no spores. And again, this is something you should be able to identify just with this overload. You don't even need to go in there. You don't need to. All you need to know is the lack of this natural expansion, and you know what's capable from your Terran opponent. Banshee's going to start working on this hatchery at the natural expansion. And this is no fun for Zerg. So at this point, Terran, good. Wall is up. Hellions behind. Perfect. Whenever you do this much damage, you want to make sure you start identifying, okay, what can kill me at this point? How can I lose this game? How can I die? How can I prevent that from happening? So the Terran should be like, okay, I can die to a Zergling run-by, which he dealt with. Next should be, okay, I could die to a Baneling something. So generally a good idea once you do this much damage, stick a tech lab onto that barracks and lift that factory onto the tech lab. Or just get units out, really. Could take a command center on the high ground as well. That's what I would do right now too. But at the point of killing your opponent's natural in this third base, you got to start a little checklist in your mind. What can destroy me? What will I die to? And the answers are Ling run by, Baneling run by, and as long as you prevent against that, you're going to be fine. Or maybe Roach across the map, but then you have a Banshee, so it's not an issue. So FullMetal is doing all the right things, and now the Zerg is like, okay, what are my options? At this point, you can do fancy stuff. Like, you're not out of it. Like, come on, think about it. You're both on one base, right? You're both on one base, right? Right? Like, aren't you? Like, there's like a theory, or there's a how do you like there's like confusion out there as far as, okay, if I'm not one base ahead, I'm dead. Well, no, if you're on one base, you just got to attack more, right? You got to take advantage of the gases that are here. So, Infestation Pit immediately right now for the Zerg, and he could probably win this if he felt like it. Infestors are a good comeback unit. Mutas. Look, imagine if you had a Spire building. Guess what kills all this? None of it shoots up. Mutas. So it's like at this point in the game, the Zergs might be thinking, okay, I'm going to lose unless I get my expansion down. So we're searching Roaches, and you got to identify, okay, what can Roaches do for me right now? Not much. I mean, they can help with the Hellions, but then the Banshees are no fun. Could go Queens, just keep making Queens, and then make Roaches with them. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Why not? You're on one base, so what's the limitation of being on one base? Well, production. You're not going to have as much larva versus if you're on 2 bases. But you know your opponent's not on 2 bases, so it's like you shouldn't be freaking out. Obviously, you're dramatically behind. But just make sure you're efficient with the rest of your resources. And it's doable. No reason to give up. Ooh, nice scan. That was a beautiful scan. That would have seen an Infestation Pit or Spire. Cool. So now the Hellions are going to march in here and probably kill the Zerg. Well, he's a few Roaches. Or just go after Jones. Yeah, and once you lose all these Jones, it's curtains. Because now, remember how we said it was one base versus one base earlier? Well, now it doesn't really apply because all your Jones are dead, right? So, looks like the Terran player is going to win this, but I hope everyone learned a lot from this commentary. If you did, share it with your friends. Post a comment down below in the YouTube VOD. You can tweet at me at Axeltoss. Any questions, if you want, or put any questions in the YouTube as well. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, this was a tournament, a replay from a tournament of a coaching group involving Dota players, League of Legends players, and Starcraft 2 players, and FullMetal is going to win this one. What am I going to cast next? I'm not sure. I'm going to PAX in Seattle on Wednesday, so I will not be able to create content, but normally all the content I create goes to MLG, which is majorleaguegaming.com or twitch.tv/MLGSC2 if you're looking for something to watch. Definitely check that out. There's the GG and the GL further for Lawaian and FullMetal. We'll take the victory. Nicely played. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.